Hello YouTube vintage stereo collectors and restorers. I'm out in the garage. This is my spring hoodie. I don't have my hoser jacket on, but I just want to talk about one little thing here. As you can see, the video I'm making is on that monitor, and you might think that's kind of low tech. I know I don't shoot in, like I shoot at 720, I don't shoot any higher because we don't have great internet actually in this area, and I have a little bit of an older camera, but this older Nikon actually has composite out that you can run into an older CRT. So why am I talking about this old stuff? Here's what I noticed: the thrift stores that I go to, there's about 7 thrift stores that I go to within an hour's drive of where I live. I don't know who to look at, him or you. And these thrift stores, the only CRT TVs they put out are 14-inch or smaller portables. They don't do anything else. So occasionally I find one of these. This actually has a manufacturer date in the back of 2000. And they don't go for much, but they go fast, really fast. So this is a 13-inch US screen, or 14-inch Canada. I don't know, Canadians add an extra inch for some reason. Let's see what it really is. It's 12. It's 13, that's what I thought. Anyway, this is a great bedroom set. I know the TVs are way bigger now, way bigger. But back in its day, I actually had a set a lot like this in RCA in my room when I was a kid in the 70s. And I actually used to pick up TVs and fix them. Talked about this before. And I had a Coleco game system, I had Atari, I had an Atari 400 computer, an Atari 800 computer. I got into the Commodores. And all those had one thing in common: you hook them up to a CRT, usually through RF, later composite like this. And I still have an Atari video game, you know, like classic Atari, the 2600, love them, love them. I also have the newer version of the Atari, you know, the reissue. There's like, I think 14 different versions of it, and it's a little bit smaller, it uses the same paddles. And I was actually going to bring it out, but it's set up in a place, it's actually set up with a TV exactly like this one. I have 2 of these. These Citizens must have sold like hotcakes back in, 20 some years ago. And I have it plugged in just like this at the front. And I play Frogger and Pac-Man and Missile Command, love Missile Command, that kind of stuff. I like the bowling, with the nice 8-bit graphics. But here's the thing about these: why do I buy them? Because, first of all, they almost always work or need very little. I think the last of the CRT TVs, some of them were really amazingly good and very simple circuit and kind of light construction. Like really, it's not much bigger than the size of the tube. It's not. I had a Sony Trinitron 13-inch 4 years ago, and it was twice as heavy. Better picture, honestly, a little bit of a better picture. But I like the Trinitron look. Anyway, here's the thing. Gamers love these. There's a whole vintage gaming community in my area, and I think that's kind of the case everywhere. And I've had some of these. I buy every one I find that's a reasonable price, whether it's $10, $20, whatever. Many of them are free. I actually got the last one, the other one I have, I actually got, they gave it to me at a church charity sale because I bought an enlarger. Like I'm talking like a photo enlarger, a Durst. And they said, "Would you want that TV?" And they're asking $5. I said, "Sure, I'll give you $5." No, we just don't want to put it out again. Oh, okay. And the guy said, "Oh, a lot of people asking you to run a video game through it." Yeah. I actually have an HDMI to composite converter that I got for $25 from Amazon, And it actually works. You can use some of the newer ones. But anyway, all I can say is, every person that comes here to buy one, and I just make it like, I'll make 10 or 20 bucks on one, just to kind of keep the shop supplies in stock. And every person comes and say, yeah, is that going to work with whatever, like the first Nintendo, the first Xbox, the first whatever? I go, yeah. Or I'll even look it up, see if it has these. And so that's what I'm looking for, something that big. I take it over to my buddy's house, takes the TV, and this one guy took the TV and that on, he had a bike, he did food delivery with a bike, so he had a really good carrier on the back. He wanted something you could put the TV and his game system in for when he went to gaming parties. Cool, why not? I really like CRT TVs. At night when I watch movies with my wife or murder mysteries, that kind of stuff, we watch it like on a newer TV, you know, and as high in resolution as possible. We actually have an LED TV, and that's what we watch that stuff on. But everything else, I actually have one that I use. I have a Roku box that actually has composite out, and I have an RCXL100 13-inch upstairs. And so it goes from there, the composite goes into a modulator and into the RF because it doesn't have these jacks. And you know what's neat about it? You watch shows, like I'll watch shows or I'll watch news. It's small enough it's not a big distraction when I'm working on stuff. Kind of tucks in a corner. Anyway, just wanted to say there are deals. Put it to you this way, any TV that's not a Sony Trinitron is almost a giveaway. The bigger the TV, the cheaper it should be. That's another thing. I've taken on some console TVs. At one point, I had 5 26-inch consoles in my basement rec room. Don't ask me. And I actually had them all so I'd watch them at once. That I kind of had to downsize. It kind of took over the room, but it was fun. And I picked them up like for nothing. I'd go to somebody's garage sale and they say, do you want that TV? And I say, yeah. I can't fit that in my car though. Oh, I got a pickup truck. I'll bring it over to your house. Do you live in town? Yeah, I live in town. So, but the smaller ones are more valuable. And I think the coolest, my favorite of the small ones, are those Sony 9-inch Trinitrons from about late 90s to early 2000s. I think it's a KV9, whatever those are. Those are really excellent. That picture is unbelievable. They have perfect linearity, perfect convergence, and such a great look. And they usually go for a couple $100 now, which is amazing. So the Sonys are a little bit better, but if you look at this, like everything about it is, like the picture is great. I'm going to actually, you can set up a home security camera with this. Anyway, just having some fun with this stuff. I'm really trying to concentrate lately. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the times we live in. There's been a lot of job losses in my area, and I just find everybody has less spending money. Even people that I thought were wealthier have less spending money. And so when it comes to having everybody needs some toys and some nostalgia, right? When it comes to stuff like a vintage game system, you can put a game system together for $50 or less. Why not? Like that's kind of what I'm concentrating on these days. You notice a lot of the stuff I've done is from the thrift store, but I also have an entire shelf over here. I got some Dynaco stuff to work on and some more Kenwood stuff to work on, and a Techniques receiver and a Rotel receiver. I got lots of that stuff that I picked up, and I noticed that on the smaller stuff, the lower powered stuff, the prices are still pretty reasonable, and there's so much stuff for sale right now. When you go and look at the online ads, wow, people are selling stuff off to raise money. And it's almost the case that I went and bought some stuff from somebody who's a collector and just saying, I'm out of room, I'd like to, I need to generate some funds. And that's, yeah, I get it. I think this guy subscribed to me and that's fine, but somebody with a 6-figure income in a beautiful house was putting in a student suite so they wouldn't lose their house. Because they'd been downsized, also went from a 6-figure income to, right, because they're in management. A lot of that happening. And I'm just hoping that the economy will pick up. There's a few factors. But in the meantime, if you don't have much money to spend, there's some great stuff you can get for just a few bucks. Thanks for watching and listening.